It's kind of windy. It's kind of windy out here at the beach. So I'm going to do my best to not take too long. I hope everybody's doing well. Happy Monday. Good morning for some of you. Good day if you're starting your day. Some of you guys, it might be nighttime or whenever you watch this. Just give you guys a little beach vibe. It's a little, early morning. Sometimes at the beach it's a little cloudy. So later on this afternoon, it might perk up a little bit. We can get some sunlight going. But yeah, so I'm just out here chilling. Every time I come out here, I have to be at the beach. It's a thing. Y'all know it's home. Hey sis, hey Gabby. Happy Monday. I wish it was sunnier right now, but it's still early. It's still 11 a.m. out here. So there might be a little bit of a forecast. Let me know if you guys can hear me okay and it's not too breezy because it is windy. I could try to cover the mic up a little bit with my hair. Let me see if my braids will cover the mic. Yeah, I'm doing good. I'm happy to be in California, but it's been a good weekend. I had a good weekend. I mean, it's Monday. I keep thinking it's Sunday. Um, it's been a good weekend. Hey, Jade, how are you? Kate, how are you? It's been a beautiful weekend with my family. We've been like all gathered together. We went to the beach yesterday, so it was kind of chilly yesterday though at the beach. And then like around 6 p.m. it started like the sun started to come out and it was so beautiful. Like that golden hour look. It was gorgeous. Um, but yeah, I wanted to come out here by myself and just chill for a little bit and meditate and pray and just be. Hey sis, greetings. How are you? Well, yeah, I'm good. I love it. I love the energy. Y'all know I need it. So we're gonna go ahead and just vibe out for a little bit, but I did want to share like a quick little message. At first I was like, maybe this is just like a little personal diary. You at the beach? Hey. Yeah, I want it to be a little bit warmer out here. Just a little bit, but I'll wait. Let's say hi to the ladies. Hello, ladies. Hi. It's cold. I don't know how anybody. I mean, it's not too cold. It's a little chilly, but it's better than being in the desert because it's hot in the desert. It's hot back at home, so I'm happy to be with a little bit of breeze. But I wanted to share this beautiful message. I be getting little random revelations, and I really try to turn it off sometimes. So I'm like, okay, you got to ground your energy. You don't want to be too spiritual all the time, and everything has a meaning and purpose, which it really does. But some things, are just meant to be, just in the flow. So, um, I've been seeing a lot of butterflies, and they're like these big ones. Like, you can see butterflies every now and then. Like around fall, you might see some. You might see some. Depending on where you live, it might be like an area where they hang out. But they've been a lot of times just passing our path. My daughter was the first one to see one, and she said one flew on her nose, and I thought that was funny. But we keep seeing them everywhere, and I've seen them at the beach. And what made it stand out to me is not so much butterflies because I see butterflies often, especially like back at home in my neighborhood, they fly around a lot. But these were huge. These are some big ass butterflies and they're gorgeous. But what stood out to me was the caterpillar, and you guys saw that on the community post, and I think I did a YouTube short. But my little cousin, we had our little picnic yesterday with our family, and my cousin was sitting on the blanket and she was like, "Oh, look." And everybody freaked out. Some of us freaked out. I'm not going to say everybody cuz like we were like, "Oh, it's so cute." It was like this really fluffy, like really thick little caterpillar. And it was so cute because of the colors. I've never seen a caterpillar not only that thick, but I've never seen a caterpillar that looks like that. Um, the caterpillar kind of looked like, I don't know how to explain it, like some really interesting fabric, or like I said on the community post, looked like a college dorm room pillow that you see at Target. You know how they have the little dorm section, or like a towel, like this really fancy modern. I don't know. It was cool. It was a interesting little caterpillar, and I was like, it's just so ironic. And this revelation just came to me. Take it if it resonates, leave it. Like I said, I try to like ground and not be too spiritual sometimes, but I can't help what I see. And the whole message that I got was, sometimes we can feel like we are regressing, or we're not growing like we thought. Like, let's say for instance, you've been focusing on, bettering yourself, bettering your life, whatever the case may be, making changes in your life, or being more disciplined, more responsible in certain areas. And then sometimes you this to get to me. Why did, and I'm not saying like, let's say for instance, for some of us, we have a challenge sometimes to regress back into certain behaviors or patterns, right? And we could like get really upset. Like, let's say you have a routine where you wake up every morning, you meditate, and you feel like that helps you, have a better start to your day. And then one day you forget, or maybe let's say like a couple of days you slack off and you forget to meditate in the morning, and you could be like, oh dang, see, I'm not doing good enough, or something that, I don't know, just it could be anything. Sometimes you feel like you're not growing because of what it looks like. And oftentimes, sometimes we do have to remind ourselves of our caterpillar state, right? It's not to say that you are in your caterpillar state still. It just means sometimes you got to look back and remember. Like, you have to see the progress sometimes. It's just a reminder. It's not to tell you or show you, see, you're not doing nothing, see, you're not leveling up, you're not growing. If you know that you are putting in the effort, you are putting in work to make changes in your life, you know that you're not the same person. I guarantee you, if you look back on certain things that you used to do in a stage of maybe not knowing, or in a stage where maybe you were rebelling against your maturity, leveling up mentally, emotionally, spiritually, whatever, you can look back and say, no, actually, I've actually grown up. I've leveled up. And sometimes things, you'll have situations, you'll have people or places or certain things that will remind you of your past, or maybe even try to remind you of your past. But this is the thing. I don't know. I just get, how do I explain this? Not to regress back to the state that you were in. It's a temptation to sometimes regress or to fall back into that. But I feel like they're kind of like tests and reminders. So the caterpillar to me kind of was like your growth. You have a, how do I explain it? Like a documentation of your growth. You have something to look back. Like, let's say it's a picture, like when you were in your phase where you partied all the time and you didn't really take care of your health, your well-being, you were hanging out with the wrong people, a point in time where you weren't really loving yourself, right? You weren't really living your authentic self. You were kind of, immature. You're trying to find yourself. You were wilding out, right? You can go back and look at those pictures and not in shame, but be like, wow, like I've grown up, instead of looking at it as a negative. And if people try to remind you of your past, like, oh, remember you used to do this and you used to be like that, you're not that person anymore. And again, it's okay to evolve. It's okay. You want to evolve. You don't want to stay stuck. You don't want to stay stuck. And I'll say this. My friend Tori, I always remember how she was saying, like, how she studies the butterfly. Two things I never knew about the butterfly until she, mentioned them. One of the things about the butterfly is when it's in its cocoon state, it has to eat away at parts of itself so that it can grow and expand in its cocoon. It has to make space. And I imagine that might be a little bit of a painful experience for an insect to have to eat away at itself to make space, but it's necessary, right? And I think eagles are the same. Something about the eagles, I can't remember. I think Tori might have mentioned this too, but I remember watching a video on eagles and it was talking about how they do go through some type of painful transformations where they get new parts. I can't remember if it's like new beaks, new wings or something. It's something crazy. But pain, part of those processes when you're eliminating and releasing things, it is a painful process. And going back to the butterfly, because I got off track. But with the butterfly, another interesting fact that my friend Tori, shout out to her, reminded me of was that the butterfly also, when it is growing into the butterfly, it doesn't know what it's becoming. It doesn't know that it's becoming a butterfly. So when it comes into that state of blooming into that beautiful butterfly that it is, it's just being, it's just existing in a beautiful way, not just a dormant existence, but a accepting of its beauty, accepting of its form, of its state, and it's just being, and it's beautiful. And so sometimes we don't really know what the changes that we're making, what it's going to bring us to, and the beautiful aspect of it. But let's catch these real quick. Hey, Siggles. Just wanted to catch those. And that was another thing too. I kept seeing two butterflies. So not only are you might feel like sometimes you're just by yourself when it comes to your evolution, when it comes to your growth, but you're gonna have people that are gonna resonate. Ooh, the sun's coming out. Yay. Come out, sun. Come out, sun. Look. Light, give us some bright light. Thank you. Come out, sun. We need you. We need some sunlight. But you're not gonna do this, you're not at this alone. You're not doing this by yourself. And Spirit has really been pressing it on my heart when it comes to making certain sacrifices in order to make space and make room for greater and bigger blessings. Anytime you're about to have a breakthrough, anytime you're about to go through a beautiful transformation, though it might be painful, you're almost always you're required to let go of something, and it's not going to be things that you necessarily find easy to let go of. It may even be a painful thing. It may be like Spirit is saying, hey, I need you to separate yourself from this friend or these friends. I need you to leave this job. I need you to move from this place or this state or this city. And you might be like, how am I going to do that? Like, I love this friend, or I love this hometown, or this job pays me very well. How am I going to do that? How am I going to afford this and that? And we can get ahead of ourselves sometimes. But if you know that you're divinely being called to let go and walk away, even no matter how scary it is, the greatest sacrifice that you'll ever make is, and when I say sacrifice, I'm not talking about demonic sacrifices, right? But like things that, and if you find it hard to let go of things over trusting divine spirit, trusting what's of your highest good, there may be an attachment to those things that are not healthy. And not to say that it's going to be just easy to walk away from like people that you care about, but you know deep down in your heart, it's not something that's being forced upon you. It's something within your spirit. Like you already know that you're being called to leave certain things or walk away or cut ties. And it could even be mindsets. Anytime you're making a change, it's not always easy. For some people, it might be easy to be like, I can go through this. I know it's not fun, it's not pleasant, but I'm willing to make the change. Like, yeah, I may not feel like getting up and going to the gym today, but I know that I have to do it. My health is at stake. You know what I mean? It's not always going to be fun. And I've been coming across a lot of content like that. And some of my friends are in that same space too, which is funny because I told them where I was at with my situation and what I'm being called to let go of. And they were like, because they told me that they're being called to do different things right now in their journey. They're being called to start different avenues or go in different areas. And it's scary. Yeah, it's scary. And here's the thing too. Just because you get the call to let go of what you need to make room for, going back to the whole caterpillar thing, where when it's in its cocoon, it eats away at itself to make space for its growth in its cocoon. so that it could become the butterfly. So you could be at that place with yourself where you know you have the knowledge, you have the understanding that there's something that I'm being called to leave, to walk away from, to cut ties with or change. But that doesn't necessarily mean that right then and there you're going to do it, because it does require you to have faith, but it takes time. Like me and one of my good friends, one of my spiritual sisters, she was saying that she had this knowing that she needed to make a change way back in 2020. And I was like, that was around the same time that spirit was telling me about what I needed to shift and change at that time. And fast forward, we're in 2023, 3 years later, and she's made the shift, right? So it's not going to be something that's overnight, but that doesn't mean, we have grace, right? But that doesn't mean we procrastinate. Okay. So the scariest thing is just taking the step and doing it. That's the biggest part. And reminding yourself and remembering you don't always have to know how the evolution process is going to go. But just trust that when you do, like once you're there, it's beautiful and it's better than what you could ever fathom or expect. And speaking from experience, I remember I had to sacrifice my fear of sharing my gifts and talents with people or coming online. It took me about a good few months to even start my YouTube channel. Initially, when I first started my YouTube channel, I got the calling to do it, and I had to subside my stage fright. I had to subside my shyness, my fear of sounding and looking stupid, because all of my life I would have people tell me like your thoughts didn't matter or you're dingy, like those word curses that was speaking over you. So every time I would go on camera, just taking the steps to do that, I'm breaking those word curses off of me, because those are lies. So sometimes our fears, our very own fears or word curses from other people will keep you from expressing yourself. When people speak negative words against you, every time you take the step, you take the initiation, you take the courage to just put yourself out there, you break those yokes off of you. Those are lies. Anything that keeps you from progressing, anything that tells you that you can't, or anyone that tells you that you can't, anytime you do the opposite and you go forth, you take the steps, you already overcame. Does that make sense? You've already broke the cords and the chains off of you, the glass ceilings off of you. And I trust God. And when I say God, I know that's a triggering word for people and a concept for people, but I'm not talking about a religious God, but the source of all things. When I trust in the universe, the divine source, God, with anything, God always comes through for me. Always. It may not be at the time where I want it, when I think I should have it, because sometimes certain things do take place, and when you look back later, it was like, okay, yeah, I wasn't really ready for that, or I wasn't mature enough to experience that or to handle that, or I didn't have the knowledge and the wisdom at the time, so I had to go through certain things, and then it makes sense. But when I was going through my whole like identity crisis with my whole purpose and my path and my gifts back in 2020, when I was like, you know what, the tarot and all of that, that ain't for me. I don't think this is something that God wants me to do anymore. Because again, the tarot, when I said that back, that was because I had made the tarot thing an idol. Tarot was an idol in my life because I looked toward the tarot for everything. I was leaning on it. It got to the point where I had to ask the questions all the time. Like when it gets to a point where you asking the tarot if you should do certain things all the time, rather than meditating, praying, reflecting on it, or making the decision, because I was living life before the tarot. So when it got to that point, that's when God was like, you know what? You need to put it down. So back in 2020, when I said I wasn't going to, I don't know if I was going to do tarot anymore, that's where I was at. Oh, hey sis, I'll call you back after this. I'm waiting for the sun to come up because I want to get in the water. But it was coming out a little bit. It's still early. I'm patient. But at that time, you guys, I didn't know, because I was like, what am I going to do if I don't do this anymore? Like, because I created, it's almost like my whole identity started to be yoked with the tarot. Like, that's only partial. Like, this is the thing that I notice about the tarot community. There's a lot of gifted people in the tarot community that have prophetic abilities and gifts and callings, but it's like we gravitate towards the spiritual, the spiritual community, as we call it, or the new age, because the whole church thing, maybe we had bad experiences in the church, or we just didn't resonate with the formality of church, if that's the right word. And so we kind of lean towards a whole spiritual thing. But there's a lot of gifted people, so it's like the tarot, the whole thing of tarot itself is a tool. The gifting, your gift remains outside of the tarot. The tarot is just a tool. You amplify the energy. So I found it funny when at that period, if some of you guys remember, those of you that stuck it out, I really appreciate y'all, because y'all really don't have to. You really didn't have to. But at that time when I was like, I don't know if I should do this whole tarot thing anymore and blah, 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 I was still using my gifts to give messages to people. I was still doing the pick a card, not the pick a cards. I was still doing the mini love reads for people. I was still doing readings for people. People were still getting readings from me, but I would tell them like, hey, I'm not using any cards. I'm just simply using my gift. I'm just using my intuition, my ability. I'm not using the cards. So I would have clients still come, but I noticed that a lot of people dropped off at that time. And that just shows me, and this is no shade, this is not to shame anybody, but it's just an observation. What it showed me looking back is that these people don't really believe in my gift and my abilities, nor do they believe in spiritual things per se, because they're putting more faith into these cards. They want to see with the cards, and that is the opposite of spirituality. The card is a tool. It has images, it has symbolism in it, and then on top of that, your intuition is going into it. But people were leaning on me reading the cards. Really they weren't really trusting or believing in the gifting or even the spirit, because the thing about the spiritual the base of spirituality is the unseen world. It's a essence, it's a flow. It's not so much a physical thing, right? So that just showed me that people are more so attached to the cards, and that's another reason why I was like, mm, I don't know about it. You know what I mean? I had to take a break. I had to change my perspective. And on top of that, it really strengthened my relationship with God more. It made me have to seek more so within myself than rather leaning on these cards or hitting one of my girlfriends up and be like, can you help me with this? Should I do this? It didn't, like, no. No. So, and on top of that too, I didn't want to be this crutch for people, because I always stress this to you guys, that I want y'all not to come to me as your first counsel, because you have your own relationship with spirit that that you can develop at any time, that you can strengthen at any time, that you have access to always, your own inner knowing. Let me, or allow me, if you need, for me just to be your confirmation or revelation, or maybe another take on what you already know, but not your sole source of counsel. Does that make sense? Because I don't feel like any human being should be our sole source of counsel. Sometimes we might need a different perspective, or we just need a confirmation, and that is that's normal. That's human, right? That's what we're here for, to be help to each other. But going back to this phase of transition and change. Hey, sis. I appreciate you. Thank you, Tony. Yeah, like, the gifting within itself is just a gift. God can take it from me at any point in time. But the thing is like, the cards, they're not where the gift lies. So if I'm not, whether I'm using cards or I'm using this or I'm using that, I'm still able to connect with spirit, and we all can. Some people don't have similar gifts. Some people's gifts are not as strong, or their gifting abilities are different from the next person, but nonetheless we all have gifts. It's just all how we utilize them. But yeah, going back to the whole caterpillar, butterfly, and making the change or the sacrifices. So, um, back in 2020, going back to what I was saying, like at the time, I didn't know what I was going to do with my channel. I wasn't sure what I was going to do with my business because my whole thing had became the tarot. And I know that sometimes like we can get attached to an assignment, right? Where we might be called to do certain things for a time or a season. We might be called to, be in fellowship or relationship, connection with certain people, certain environments, or certain jobs for a time. But sometimes spirit will call you out and be like, it's time to go. There's more. Okay, I'm calling you here. I'm calling you there. Or you're outgrowing these things, right? It's natural. So like when I was going through that whole transition, I was like, I don't know what the hell I'm gonna do. And my aunt, my aunt was in training for a new job, and her training was gonna be in Calabasas, California, and she was gonna be away for 2 weeks. And she hit me up, and she was like, I wanted to see if you wanted to go with me, if you wanted to leave and kind of get a break. And I was like, perfect timing. Yes, I do. Yes, God. So when she called, invited me to go to Calabasas with her, I had spent that entire time pretty much soul searching about what I was going to do. And one thing that came to mind was like, maybe I can do business or sell my jewelry and stuff, because you guys know I make jewelry and stuff. I was like, maybe I can sell my jewelry at this event spot that I go to, and I'm cool with the owner. And he told me, I remember him telling me a long time ago, because I read for him when I first met him, the owner of this event. I read for him and he cried. I'll never forget that. He cried, and in a good way. It was like, it was a good message for him. And he cried and he was like, anytime you want to set up here, you can set up for free. Like if I wanted to vend there, because he was really nice enough to allow other people to set up their vending spot, like if they had jewelry or if they had art, whatever. He would let them set up in his establishment for free, which most people don't do that. So he was like, anytime you want to set up here, you can. It's yours. So I remembered him saying that to me. So when I was in that crisis back in like 2020, trying to figure out what I was going to do, something told me to hit him up and ask him if I was able to set up at his establishment like he had offered to me. And he was like, there's a girl that's supposed to come in tonight actually to do readings. And he was like, if she doesn't show up, then the spot's yours whenever you want it. So I prayed on it. I said, God, if it's meant for me to have this opportunity, he's going to hit me back up. He'll message me back. I'm going to leave it alone. If it's not meant to be, I'm not going to press him for it. I'm not going to reach out or anything. I'm going to just let it be if it's meant to be. And so after it was all said and done, the next day, he messaged me back and he told me that the spot was mine. So around that time where I was having that crisis, and it was like around maybe fall of 2020, like October, November, I set up there consistently. And God blessed me in that establishment for a minute until like May of 20, what was it? 2021. And I blessed, the space. I met a lot of cool people there. I, my business was doing good at the time there, like my jewelry and all of that. And I was giving people, guidance and stuff. It was a beautiful, I really cherished that. And I was only there for a time. Again, like that was just a time. Things changed. The establishment changed. So, you know, and later on he called me to come back. After a while, he called me to give me the opportunity again. And that was just a short period of time as well, because they changed the venue. They don't stay there anymore. So you have to trust God. I'm just sharing that story to let y'all know, like, I was at a crisis. I didn't know what the fuck I was going to do at that point. I was like, okay, I told my subscribers, I don't know if I'm going to do tarot anymore. And I lost a lot of subscribers during that period. But I had to trust where I was going, even though I didn't know where I was going. And it was scary. And God made a way for me during that period. I'm telling you, like, it's not always fun in the process, but it takes a while to make those changes. It takes a minute. But once you do it, you have nothing to worry about. Nothing. And that's why I always stress to people, like, y'all be thinking I just be talking out my ass. And some of you know that I don't. But I think because, and again, I'm going to say something not to trigger or to shame anybody, but some people don't really have a relationship with their creator enough to trust their creator. They trust more so in people, places, and things, and not on the unseen force. And that's why I be laughing at people when they be talking about they're spiritual, but it's like the spiritual realm within itself, the good, the bad, and the ugly of the spiritual realm is that it is an unseen force. It's felt, it's experienced, and in order to experience supernatural things, you have to have faith. You do, because if you don't, it's like you have to. You have this mentality of I have to see everything to believe it, and then you kind of get hardened. You get stagnated. You start to become anxious because you're fixated on how, when, where, and you're not living presently. You're not centered. You're not in tune. You're not connected. And the tarot business, the reason why tarot is so popular, and it's not so much because people are spiritual. I wouldn't even say that. It's a medium, and it's a ways to get answers almost in some people's eyes in an instantaneous like way. Like I can get answers instantaneously. I can tap into the collective minds and hearts, and I can, get answers that way rather than connecting and tuning with spirit. There's many ways that you can tap into the spirit room with God. There's many ways that you can use the tarot. That's not, because I don't even believe tarot is really meant for fortune telling per se, and that's why I be telling people, like, I'm not gonna predict the future just off top. Like, I'll look into like what's the probability around things, and sometimes I might get a message to give you a heads up of what's to come. But I believe the tarot is more so like an energy to, oh my god, the dolphin. I don't know if y'all saw that. Y'all gonna have to replay that back. I definitely got that on camera. I just seen the dolphin. He was right. You see my finger? Right there. Oh, hi baby. Look. I want y'all to see that. There's two of them. There's usually always two of them. Oh, I can't zoom in, huh? Let me see if it'll let me. It will. There we go. Let me see if I can get them babies. I always love to see dolphins. Those are my babies. I'll be happy when I see them. We'll keep an eye out on for them. But if y'all go back, you'll see them. Aw, so cute. So, but yeah, long story short, because y'all know I be on here, I can go on a tangent, and I don't want to do that because I have to save my battery while I'm out here, and I want to get in the water eventually when it warms up. But don't be afraid if this message resonates with you. Don't force something to resonate. If it's not happening right now for you, then it's not for your message. But if you are in I keep missing them. Dang. They're like way over there. Look, look, look. Oh, okay. I get so geeked. I'm like a little kid. They're playing because I've never seen them jump up that much. Why are they doing it? They wilding today. There's one. I hope y'all saw him or her. They're going crazy. Oh, there they are. Ooh, that might be some sharks too. Wait a minute. I don't know what them fins. Them fins look a little foreign to me. Almost like dolphin fins. There they are. Swimming. Y'all see them? Let me know if y'all see them fins. There's one right there. Where's my finger? Where's my finger? Right. You see them? There they are. Okay. Enough dolphin sighting. Okay. They got me off track. I love me some dolphins. I love elephants and I love dolphins. Um, but don't be afraid if you feel the call to let go of certain things. to make a change, do something different, and it might be scary, like, jobs, um, moving from a different city in the Bronx. It would have to be one of those floods again. You know how they had the sharks? I think y'all had sharks in the subways, and y'all, it was like that was some scary shit. I don't know what I would do if I seen some shit like that, but I think it was a flood or something. Like you guys had a hurricane come through in New York or Jersey. I can't remember, but it was like sharks in the subway. Crazy. Um, but yeah, it's always a blessing to see dolphins because I come out here and I usually see them every time I come out here. Usually, I'll see them, and they'll come out when I'm talking about God or I'm praying or something. Like usually, that's when they come out. Which is very interesting, and they say that they are the angels of the ocean. If you look it up, that's what dolphins are referred to because I guess, back in like the day, they would help sailors on their path. Like that's why they would call them the angels of the sea. So it must be something significant with that. I don't really know, but um, yeah, I just love them. I don't know. I like the playful nature of them. I know they got a little freaky side to them, like they a little nasty. They're known to be a little freaky, but I like the playful nature of a dolphin as well. Like, I don't know, they just look happy. They just look like they be smiling all the time. I don't know. It's like their energy. But don't be afraid, y'all, because that's where your breakthrough is. You're not going to have a breakthrough by playing it safe or staying in the same place. A breakthrough is also often as well is a mindset, like a mindset shift, and that in itself can be a challenging thing as well because your mind you're restructuring the way that you think, and that's not always an easy turn off and turn on switch thing. So yeah, but your breakthrough is on the other side of they a little nasty, but your breakthrough is on the other side of your whatever it is that you're holding on to, that you're being called to let go. It's like a tight fist where you're tight fisting something, and spirit is like, I want you to release whatever you're trying to hold on to so tightly, because whatever you're holding on to most likely is something that you've outgrown. It's something that you no longer resonate with. It's something that's no longer prospering you. And when I say prospering you, not so much financially, but where you're growing, where you're elevating, where your joy is. Sometimes we can hold ourselves back just all for the sake of comfortability, all for the sake of that. So I had that revelation like a week ago, and again, I'm a shout out my friend Nina. Like I told you, that heifer be triggering me, and she was like, I am not that harsh. I'm like, yeah, yeah, but I need that. Like I have friends like that sometimes they gotta call me out on things, and that is needed because I tell you, it hurts. I'm telling you, like when you're at a place where you know you become stagnant, you become comfortable, and someone calls you out for it, it's triggering, and it makes you uncomfortable because you know it's like, okay, I gotta step up to the plate. I do, and she doesn't know that she actually helped activate me into a lot of changes recently. So I needed that. I'm gonna let her know. So yeah, but pretty much everybody around me, Tori included. Shout out to Tori. She on here with us. Say hi to Tori. She, made a shift. Nina has made a shift. Um, I've been coming across a lot of videos as well, and I think Tori sent me a clip of a girl saying that she was called to leave her city that she's currently in and making a change. I'm telling you, like the time is now for those of you that this is meant for, because it's not just a coincidence that we all in the same space. Like, don't allow yourself to hold yourself back. When you're called to make those, it's like this, and it's kind of, I'm gonna say like conspiracy theory type thing, and hypothetically and allegedly. But you know how they say like celebrities, you know how celebrities they say that they have to make a blood sacrifice in order to level up in their career. And if you believe in witchcraft and all of that, I believe that. I could see that because some Some witch practitioners, they sacrifice animals. Everything, just like how divine source God requires a divine sacrifice from us, the enemy always has an opposite. The enemy always duplicates things, but more in a perverted way. So, like, where God requires a sacrifice of, let's say, things that are not good for us, not people, not, oh, I'm going to give up my dog or my grandma, like something crazy like that. Nothing like that. But to say, I sacrifice my sense of control. I give up my sense of needing to know everything, or this job or this career that pays very well, but I feel like it's sucking the life out of me. I don't have any joy in it anymore. I'm not growing, or a friendship that's not for me, or a boyfriend or a girlfriend that I know I'm not supposed to be with, or I need to divorce this person because this relationship is not divinely, it's not a divine union. I need to divorce this person. We need to separate. Those are not easy sacrifices to make, but these are things that when you let them go, you're blessed tenfold with more. So it's not something as demonic or dark as like, oh, I'm going to sacrifice my homie up the street from childhood so I can get a record deal. It's not that type of blessing, right? So just as you give up something that no longer serves you, God is going to bless you tenfold. And these blessings don't come with pain. These blessings don't come with demonic intentions or demonic activities or contracts, or it's not going to come with that. These blessings come with prospering you and blessing you and blessing others around you and placing you in environments, people, places, and things that will bring you peace and bring you joy. Okay, so whatever it is that you know that is not for you anymore, whether, because I keep stressing job, so for some of you it could be a job. Make sure you got all your ducks in a row, but at the same time, though, trust spirit, because it might be a situation where spirit is like, quit this job, and you never know that when you do that, it frees up a space for the dream job that you've been waiting on before you just kind of sold out and said, you know what, I'm gonna just take this job because this other job I'm waiting on, or my dream job is not, contacting me, or it's not moving forward, or they didn't call me back. Because you don't know, if you clear up that space, you might get a call back. You might get an email. You might something beautiful. And do not be distracted or dismayed by things that are trying to pull you back, to cause you to look backwards or cause you to look down. Because there was another thing. I don't think I came on here. I don't think I shared this with you guys. So it was last week sometime. I was reading my devotional, and I think I did share this with you guys. Matter of fact, I did. I think I did. While I was reading my devotional, and one of the scriptures was talking about how Jesus was telling, I think it was Peter, was it Peter or Paul? I don't remember. Where he was telling one of the men to meet him in the middle of the water. And he was walking towards him, and he started to, whoever the disciple was, it was a P, starts with a P, Peter, Paul, one of them dudes, okay? And he started to look down at the water and started to lose faith. So I'm going to use this as a metaphor, because obviously that sounds crazy, right? To say you're going to walk on water. And some people say that they can walk on water. I don't know if I believe that. But anyway, the whole metaphor is that it's to keep your eyes forward and keep your eyes focused on divine source God, and what you know to be true in faith, in a high vibrational energy, rather than starting to look at, oh, well, my finances. Oh, well, I don't have this. Oh, well, what if this happens? Or, oh, blah, 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 blah. No. Those are distractions. As a human, you're going to slip a little bit and be like, oop, okay, I had a moment. I started stressing. When you find yourself having those moments where you're stressing about the future, you're stressing about the whens, the ways, and the how, remind yourself again, if you have to, the moments where spirit, source, God, whatever you want to call the divine creator, made a way for you. That's always something that I lean on all the time, is the times, countless times where I didn't have, or I didn't know how something was going to work out. It was something maybe I was stressed out about, but God always made a way out of it. Always. And when I say God, it's things that nothing outside of me that I could say logically or practically could have made that work or make that happen. You know what I mean? It's not something that I could say, oh, well, it's because somebody helped me with that. And even then, some people might say things like, I don't know why, I was just led to bless you with this money, or I was led to send you this message. That's how you know it's God. Because it's not just like mere simple things that just like, okay, obviously you have a 9 to 5 job. Of course, you're going to be able to pay your bills at the end of the month. But it's like things where your check wasn't enough to pay off your bills. And then all of a sudden, one of your cousins hit you up and is like, I don't know why, but I felt led to give you $150. Like, what? Or I forgot I owed you $100. I forgot I had to pay you back. And it was just what you needed. That's how you know. Like, you got to remember those times where God has always made a way for you. You have to, when you waver in faith. And I know for some people it's going to go in one ear and out the other, because a lot of people lack faith. I understand that. And you can't fathom good things happening to you because all you know is trauma, all you know is pain and disappointment. So some things are not going to register in your spirit until you get out of that place of pessimism and that mindset of everything's working against you and everybody's against you and everybody's after you. You're never going to be happy and you're never going to be at peace. You're going to constantly live in a demonic state of mind, or you're going to live in a prison, in a dungeon with Christian Grey, with whips and chains. You know, demons got you bound, just bruised and bound. Some people don't even know that they're being demonically used to cause havoc and wreck in people's lives. And that's sad. Like, it's sad. I really feel bad for people like that, because there's a lot of people that are being used to cause chaos and destruction in people's lives, that are miserable, that just sit and spew hate all day and try to make other people feel bad and bring them down and all of that. Like, that's a sad mindset. It's sad. It's sad to be in that vibration and energy. People choose to be upset and mad. You know what I mean? There's so many people that I can sit all day and be upset with them and blame them. I can blame my baby daddy. I could blame my grandmother for things that she's done and said to me. There's so many people that I can blame. I can blame the person that took my virginity and raped me. I can blame them. I can blame so many people. Friends that have backstabbed me. There's so many people I can sit and just complain and blame them for everything that they have done to me, and oh, they're to blame. But at the end of the day, it's a conscious choice and decision to say, you know what? I choose joy and I choose peace. I don't want to live in that place anymore. I'm giving my power away to people, places, and things that probably are living their life and don't even give two shits about what they did to me. They probably forgot about it. They probably don't even give a fuck. They're living their life. So why am I over here complaining about what the next man or next woman did to me? Yeah, I might have to heal from that. I have to find forgiveness in that. But you know what? I have to forgive them for my sanity, for my peace, for my joy. Because that's another reason why spirit is not going to allow, some of us to have certain things, is because our hearts are hardened. If you believe in vibrational energies and all of that and law of attraction, then you should know better that when your energy is like, you have this resentment and bitterness stored up in your body and in your energy field, you're going to block blessings. You are, just naturally. Because if you know anything about, like I said, energy, the heart chakra, if your heart chakra is like bound up and blocked and bitter, that's your receptive point in your body, in your energy. You're not going to be able to receive anything if your heart chakra is blocked. And I'll take this from Nina, my friend Nina. She was like, it's easier for humans to be negative. That's the first thing we go to, is the negative thing. We believe more so in the negative realm of things rather than we believe in the positive of things. We believe the negative stories over the positive stories, and we rather talk about gossip and who got shot, who's in jail, who's fighting, who got kidnapped. And not saying that these things don't matter, but we fall into the realm of that. It's very hard for humans to sit in a place of joy and peace. And a lot of times it's because we've never had it. A lot of times we've never experienced a peaceful environment. We've never, and I'm saying this because it's not coming from just a place of me just talking out of my ass. I've lived in that. I've lived in a household sometimes like where you heard adults fighting and you've dealt with, look at all these seagulls, where are they going? Where you've dealt with just a lot of drama around you, or you might have went to a school where there was a lot of violence or whatever. So every human has experienced something in their life that was traumatic, but we're not supposed to live in that. We're not supposed to stay in that. We're just not. Happiness and joy, it's a choice to receive it. It's a choice to operate in it. I didn't understand when Nina would say, I was like, bitch, shut up. Like, not like that, but she was like, she was irritating my spirit because that part of me that wanted to be in that woe is me mode, that pessimistic mode, did not want to hear what she was saying. And I was irritated by it. And so I got up and I made up in my mind that I have to pull myself out of where I am. There's not going to be a change from where I'm at to the next point until I sit in this very moment and say, I don't want to be here anymore. That's all it really takes, is you making up in your heart and your mind that you don't want to be where you are, or you rather be in another energy. That's all it takes. It really is. And if you're dealing with spiritual oppression, it's going to be a little bit of a fight. Yeah. How do you know you're spiritually oppressed? Because every time that you try to shift your mindset, or you try to shift in the energy of love, or you try to shift in the energy of joy or peace, you go into that mode where you panic, or you think of why you can't, or you get into that blame shifting. Oh, it's because my mama said this, or because my boyfriend did this, or he beat me, or this person said this to me, or when I was in school this person told me I was ugly, or I was too this, or I was too skinny, or I was too white, or I was too black, or whatever the hell you heard, right? When you start getting in that and you can't free yourself, that's how you know you're in spiritual oppression. How to break spiritual oppression? What works for me, at least, it's going to take prayer to break yourself off of it. And you have to know what that energy is that you're fighting. So if it's the spirit of depression, why are you depressed? Sometimes the reason why people are depressed is because they're too fixated on the future, of what's not here yet, or what they want to be here, or what they don't have. And then you shift out of being present and seeing that the very thing that you used to pray about and ask for, or want to manifest, that you said you wanted, you have, but you don't see that you have it, or that you manifested it before, because you're focused outside of yourself. You're focused outside of the moment. You're not satisfied. You're not at peace. So that can be part of it. It all goes back to the self. It really, really, really does. It always comes back to us. No one on this planet is going to be that thing, that remedy that changes your life. Or no one in this earth really owes you anything, because humans are humans. I can sit here and cry about what my exes did to me, how they beat me up, how they beat me down, how best friends did this, or how this person, or the way this person looked at me at the grocery store the other day. I can fixate on those things, but at the end of the day, we're all human. We all are subject to shift and change our mindsets, how we treat people. Sometimes we do things that we don't even know that how detrimental it can be towards another person. And it's not to say that we shouldn't be conscious of our actions, or other people shouldn't be kind or conscious of their actions. But if we give too much power away to another human being, whether it dictates our happiness, our joy, or our sadness, you're not going to survive in this life. You're not. Or you're just going to sit here and be miserable for the rest of your life if you allow other human beings to dictate your experience here on this earth. It's ridiculous when I think about it, because that was something I did all the time, and still have to get to a place where I know how to discern it. Like if somebody says something out of pocket, it's just like, that, okay, that's on you. Like, that's not, I'm not carrying that. You know what I mean? Um, yeah. And I feel like we are our biggest teachers. Our biggest lessons come from each other. We're our greatest catalyst to each other. We can be the biggest and greatest motivation and encouragement and inspiration to each other, and we can also be the most detrimental, painful thing to each other. But it's all about how you move in this. If I was to say this in a practical way, it's like for some people it's not that easy because you internalize your emotions as a quote unquote empath. And as an empath myself, you carry energies, you feel energies all the time. You can't just shut it off. But the key is not shutting off and being hardened to your emotions or others' emotions. It's getting to a place where you know how to govern your emotions, where you don't allow your emotions to have governance over you. I see dolphins again. I'm gonna let y'all see these dolphins if they pop back up again. But you see them? Where are they? Ooh, ooh, ooh. I see them. Y'all see them? They're like right there. Come out. Come out wherever you are. Y'all see them? There they are. Right there. Um, yeah, you have to have governance over your emotions. And it's not easy. You don't allow your emotions to have governance over you. In other words, control you and dictate your mood, your mode, your thoughts. That's not healthy. So like if somebody cuts, and I tell my mom this all the time because my mom is like a road rager. She got road, like not like to the extreme, but she gets so ticked off by the littlest things on the road. Like sometimes I'd be like, Mama, these people, they got to get somewhere just like you. And some people like to rush. Like, you know what I mean? Like some people rush. Some people don't know how to drive. Like, it's so many factors. You're taking it personal. Like, oh, this person cut me off. Like, they don't know you. As soon as they get off this freeway, they ain't thinking about you. Like, you know what I mean? Like, people just be giving too much energy to things that just don't fucking matter in the heat of the moment. I was watching this movie. Let me share this real quick, and I'm going to get off because I want y'all to see something. I was watching this movie on Tubi because I be, like, in a rabbit hole with Tubi. But there was this movie where it was a guy, his best friend, and his wife. They all worked in the same office or whatever. And the movie starts off with the main character. It was his birthday. And his wife was like, oh, babe, I'm going to have to cancel. We're not going to be able to do anything. I'm going to have to reschedule. We're going to have to do something for your birthday after I finish my project. And he goes out to the bar to celebrate with his boys or whatever. And his best friend that works with him, his best friend was like at the bar talking to some chick or whatever, like hooking up with her. And then he was like, you guys, I gotta go. I gotta meet up with this chick or whatever. So the best friend left with to go meet up with this mystery woman, right? And the friend, the main character, he was looking at him all suspicious and whatever. Fast forward, so his wife comes home late one night and she's like, I need to take a shower. And he's like, what you need to take a shower for? And blah, blah, blah. And I think he sees his friend's phone number pop up on her phone or something crazy. So he's starting to put two and two together and be like, oh, my wife must be having an affair with my best friend. So the main character goes and sees about a private investigator to go see, in fact, if his friend or his best friend and his wife are cheating together. So fast forward, the investigator comes back with some pictures and asks him, are you sure you want to see these pictures? Are you sure? And the guy was like, yes, I want to see them. I want to know the truth. So he shows him the picture and it looks like, they're hanging out together. So the private investigator was like, these two hang out together the same time every week at the same spot every week. So later on, throughout the movie, the main character is like having these negative thoughts. He's fantasizing his wife making love to his best friend and all kind of stuff. Like he's just going to the deep end. Like he's thinking too deep into it. So he can't even function at work anymore. So fast forward, he reaches out to the private investigator again. And the private investigator, or he asked him, he was like, do you know someone? And the private investigator was like, are you sure you want to do this? So in other words, he was looking for a hitman, right? So he was so enraged at the fact that his wife and his best friend were hooking up in his mind, right? Based off of the evidence. And going through her computer, he found, I guess, some plane tickets to Hawaii, and the two of them were emailing each other about it. So he's just like, all this stuff is just triggering him, right? So long story short, he meets up with the hitman, and the hitman is like, are you sure you want to do this? Because once you pay me, you send me the dude's address, it's over, right? So he's like, yeah, I want you to do it. So he had, what I noticed in the movie was that the main character kept getting like a heads up, like, are you sure you want to do this? Like, he kept getting people telling him, are you sure you want to go through with it? Are you sure you want to go through with it? So he had an opportunity. He had a choice to say, I can divorce my wife. I can check these two people. I can probably even fight it out with him. But instead, he chose something that cannot be undone. So in the movie, like towards the end of the movie, his wife surprises him with a birthday party. So she wasn't making it up. She really did have something for him. And she was like, yeah, so and so hooked us up with these tickets to Hawaii. We leave first thing tomorrow morning. So the best friend had to hook up with the tickets for the Hawaii trip. So it wasn't for the wife and the best friend to go on a trip together. It was for him, for his birthday. So he's sitting there like, oh my God, what the fuck? Like, he's sitting there like realizing that they weren't sleeping together. They were planning this private birthday party for him and this trip for him. So he gets a text from the hitman that the job was done, and he has a heart attack and dies in the end, because it's like he can't live with that. Like, can you imagine finding out your best friend was innocent the whole time? Your wife and your best friend were innocent the whole time, and you set a hitman up. You paid him, so you know the job is inevitably done. Like, there's nothing you can do. So he had a heart attack in the end. This is what I'm saying. Long story short, you're taking a moment in time, and a lot of times, like, the things that we are like stressed about and fear about is typically things that we will probably look back later and be like, why was I even tripping over that? Why was I? Because when we're in the moment of things, we start projecting into the future, like, oh my God, this is what's happening. I have an eviction notice. Oh my God, I'm going to be on the street. Oh my God. You start going into all these reasons why you should freak out, why you should stress. And later on, that thing, that situation that you're stressed out about, or those people that you're crying over, or whatever the case may be, later on in life, you find that you're okay. You're going to be okay. You're taking a temporary season in your life and turning it into a life sentence, and you're stealing your life, you're stealing your joy. It may not be as detrimental as that movie I was telling y'all about, but you see what I'm saying, right? How we can fixate on something, we can dive into it too deeply, we can start projecting, we can start creating scenarios to where we create this prison for ourselves, and then we steal our joy and our peace. And sometimes it might lead to doing things that you regret, saying things that you shouldn't have said, or doing or treating people the way that you shouldn't have. And I always say this, I'm very careful about how I treat people. And my sis Tori was just saying it this morning. We don't know people's level of divine protection. We don't know people's ranking in the spirit realm. So when people are going around treating people, um, treating people badly and using and abusing people, good people, and things like that, there's consequences to that. You may not get the karma back immediately. You may not get you may not reap what you sow immediately, or even when you think that you should be getting it back. Don't rest on it, because it will happen. If you're somebody that walks around with a hardened heart and you purposely like seek to hurt and harm people, there's consequences to that. It's always funny how sadistic people can be, to be like, oh, I could just treat this person, I could just cheat on this person, I could lie to this person, I could steal from this person, I can do this, I could do that, I can bully this person, I can abuse this person, I could do that, and that there's no consequences to it. It may not come from that person, it may come from something. You might meet your match eventually. 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 But long story short, I'm gonna enjoy my beach day. I'm gonna enjoy this weather. It's very breezy, but I'm gonna enjoy it. And I will holler at you guys soon. So enjoy the rest of your day. I hope you guys enjoyed the beach vibes. I don't know if you saw the dolphins, but they were definitely out here chilling. I tried to zoom in on them so y'all can play it back and probably see the babies. But yeah, enjoy the rest of your night, your day, wherever you guys are in the world whenever you watch this. And God bless you. May God continue to keep y'all, cover you and bless you. And much love as always. Peace.